Part of me wants to keep wearing this shirt more often, but another part of me, a smarter part, knows that it will likely get stained. What's up, folks? I'm Odd, by the way, and welcome back to my Bootleg Pokemon Challenge. This is episode 21. This series is old enough to drink, but if you are new here, in this series, I draw, I do draw, but I pick 3 Pokemon out of this little baggie. These are bootleg figurines that look really goofy, and I redraw them based off of their weird bootlegged nature or some other random animal or fantasy trait that I think suits the Pokemon at the time, sometime later on, when I'm trying to figure out how to redesign a Pokemon. Yeah, we're getting pretty close to the bottom of the bag here. I think that I said 25, which feels about right, episodes, and I might need to do 4 at the end or something like that, but we shall see. But at that, let's just jump right in to this series. There's dust everywhere. It's unseasonably warm. Here's our first selection. You. It is a, oh my god, Weeping Bell. Enhance. It's trying its best. It's trying very, very hard. I think this is a Weeping Bell and not a Victory Bell. Like, it's not quite there, but I couldn't quite tell you based off of what it looks like. It's missing its top, so it looks kind of like a banana. Weird little guy. Looks like the head of something that got taken off, so. Or a monkey. Woo! Okay. So that's one selection done. Next selection. Second selection here. I draw in 3s. Don't know if I said that for this episode. Whoop. So there's been 21 of them. Ghastly! Look at his little teeth. Enhance. He's so cute. It's got a little... It looks like my cat. It reminds me of my cat. She has these little, like, vampire fangs. Like, her fangs just get a little bit, like, too big for her mouth sometimes. So sometimes her just like... Miss Overbite. Okay. Is this all Gen 1 so far? I think that it is. And our final selection for the day is you. Slugma! Slug! Enhance! So this is Gen 2. This one is pretty good. This is pretty accurate. I mean, it's hard to mess it up. It's just orange and yellow. But this is a really cute figurine. I quite enjoy this. He's so cute! Slug. Did I say enhance again? I keep forgetting. There have been 21 episodes, okay? And I forget my habits in this. And maybe it's just like I say it so often that I just kind of glaze over it mentally. I don't know. But okay, I think 2 Gen 1 Pokemon and a Gen 2 Pokemon, unless I am mistaken. Weeping Bell is... Yeah, because this, like, Bellsprout is Gen 1, right? Is it like Victory Bell is Gen 2? Like there's a variant? I don't... Like an evolution change? I don't quite know. But okay. Along with a grass, poison, and fire type. So that should be interesting to deal with. And at that, I'll probably just throw this right over to Speed Paint voiceover for you guys. And show you what I figured out for these 3 when we get there. So, see you there. Starting out with the Weeping Bell, since the whole line are based off of pitcher plants, I wanted to keep with that theme, and I had some options to choose from with varieties. I was really liking the varieties where the pitcher of the plant was this sort of purpley red, and the nickname for this variety is the Red Tube Trumpet, so that's what this variant is called. Weeping Bell is a pretty simple shape, although making sure to get that simplicity right can be a challenge because otherwise it can look just a little uncanny. That was kind of the case for all of these Pokemon, really, because they all had pretty simple but specific shapes to them. I did decide to make this version's leaves a little more complex in both shape and color, to resemble the leaves of the pitcher plants I was looking at, which had this really cool veining alongside more kind of yellowish leaves. Shiny Weeping Bell does have some red to it, but not a lot, and I think I realized why, though not until I was almost done. The finished color scheme reads a bit like an eggplant. I decided to lean into it and just call her Aubergine, which is French for eggplant. It is kind of funny because one of my own very first Pokemon OCs is named Nightshade, which is the family eggplants reside in. No relation though, he's an Espeon. Aubergine is the Pokemon of a particularly enthusiastic Poisons trainer, maybe the one that has Amethyst. Despite her annoyed appearance, she's probably one of their most docile Pokemon. She loves a good swampy area to hunker down in. Next up, we have the Ghastly. This was definitely a challenge to figure out because Ghastly is an orb, or based on its description, completely amorphous. I decided it would be fun to play with the shapes of its surrounding miasma over the Pokemon itself, though I did wind up adding some color variation too. You can definitely see what I mentioned earlier about the simple shapes here. It's deceptive. There's some room for error, at least on more complicated designs, but you need to get those eyes right for it to really sell as a Ghastly. I am pretty proud of my free-handed spheres here, though. I decided it would be funny to make a Ghastly that kind of resembled a bunny in its smoke, and to kind of act as a base for that, I added some little horns up top. I named him after Bunnicula, the vampire rabbit. I think I read like the first book of that series, but I could not tell you the plot now. All I know is that he seemed relatively harmless because he still eats plants. He just like drains them of their life force. This Bunnicula is a relatively normal Ghastly. Some breeders are able to encourage Ghastly's amorphous gas to kind of maintain a unique form. The core area with the face is the hardest to shift, but a popular variety is the horn variant. Bunnicula's gas surrounding his horns makes him a little less intimidating though, but that led to his adoption by a woman who was trying to get over her fear of ghost Pokemon and found him adorable. He's still a little mischievous, but he's really mostly just a pampered house pet these days. Now for our final Pokemon, the Slugma. Slugma is a bit more complicated design-wise than the other two, but still relatively simple. It was also a challenge figuring out a design variant for a living ball of magma. Ultimately, I landed on another one of my kind of fan-made regional variants I do occasionally for this series. When volcanoes erupt, the lava is dangerous but slow. I think that's in part why Slugma and Magcargo are a slug and snail. They're slow. My thought was making a Slugma inspired by the more immediate threat after a volcanic eruption, pyroclastic flow. My mom is actually really fascinated by natural disasters, and this is one of her favorite phrases, oddly. This is the mass of superheated gas and debris that comes barreling down the mountain at intense speeds. It was what was responsible for the sort of living statues in Pompeii. I thought an angry, speedy Slugma based off of this would be interesting to make. I could see this being a ground or poison type alongside the fire typing. I spent a long time just making the clouds the major feature change for this variant, but after I essentially got everything done, I decided to go back and change the color too, making it more of a charcoal black while keeping the lighter orange areas the same, and changing the color of the eyes from yellow to red. I named this girl Tephra, which is the general term for the different kinds of rocky debris that come flying off of volcanoes with pyroclastic flow. Tephra is a Pokemon of a snail racing enthusiast. Of course, the pyroclastic Slugma have become more of a league of their own being so fast, but she is the fastest among them. She has a short temper and a competitive streak that are easily burnt off by racing, so she loves it. Pyroclastic Slugma are rare now, but when they spawn, they naturally race down mountainsides, sometimes causing massive damage. These days, they're more easily contained, but a bit rarer too, unless they're among enthusiasts like Tephra's trainer. But those are my Pokemon for this week. Happy belated Pokemon Day, by the way. I am super stoked for Legends ZA, and honestly just a little bit relieved the Pokemon Day announcement did include anything about a potential Gen 10. It'll probably come out in Pokemon's 30th year, which still feels a little soon for me, but I would so much rather the main series games take their time, and it seems like with stuff like Champions coming out, we have a good way to continue, say, like, competitive without the need for the whole new generation to be rushed out every time the meta needs to be refreshed. I might take a little extra thing off to the side for some hopes or predictions about ZA, maybe with a speed paint, if that seems interesting. But regardless, be sure to subscribe to catch more fun art challenges like this one, and give this video a like if you liked it. At that, though, I'll leave this here for now, and I'll see y'all next time. Be sure to subscribe to... My god. Be sure to just...